This week on the Island Times News Update, the Jacksonville Beach City Council will not fund a shell slide for Deck the Chairs. Neptune Beach sends its sign ordinance back for more work. And the music begins again at the beach's Historical Society Chapel concert series. Welcome to the Island Times News Update. I'm Tom Patton. By any measure, Deck the Chairs, the 2-year-old effort conceived and spearheaded by local Jacksonville Beach businessman Curtis Loftus, has been a resounding success. The event grew more than 800% last year over the inaugural year in both visits and fundraising, and has made a significant contribution to the Life-Saving Corps. But Loftus has also benefited from a partnership with the city of Jacksonville Beach, which has provided funding for items like the stylized Christmas tree that was erected in front of the Seawalk Pavilion last year. The city now owns the tree, to which the city contributed $12,000, according to city manager George Forbes, and Loftus had hoped that a similar deal could be made for another addition to the event. Loftus said at the Jacksonville Beach City Council meeting Monday night that one of his stated goals for the event is to attract 60,000 people to the Jacksonville Beach Central Business District over the 5 weeks of the event. But while the nighttime events have been very popular, merchants in the Central Business District have said they would like to see something that would bring people to the shopping and restaurant district during the day. And Loftus envisioned a 28-foot-tall inflatable shell slide, custom-made for the event, that would be open to kids during the day. Loftus asked the city of Jacksonville Beach to appropriate $12,000 for the slide, which it would then own and could use for other events. Loftus said those who wanted to use the slide would be charged a daily $5 fee, with proceeds going to the Lifeguard Corps.
I think this may be the last time Deck the Chairs is coming to the city and asking for actual hard costs on what would be a capital investment for us. Everything that we've done to this point is owned from the city side of it, owned by the city right now. So this is another investment the city's going to make. The city's going to own it. We had about $3,500 last year. It was targeted for this year out of a $15,000 estimated budget. I think you have notes on that. We pulled $3,500 out last year to finish a purchase on sound system, which the city owns right now, and I think we can build on that as well. So that's why, this is kind of that final amount that we're looking at of $12,000, and if we can get that approved, I think we're going to have an exciting, really memorable Deck the Chairs again.
But the council is not ready to help Deck the Chairs expand its event into the daytime hours. City manager Forbes said the city has already invested about $45,000 in Deck the Chairs, when such things as security, utilities, use of the space, and capital expenditures are taken into account. Some of the concerns expressed by council members included charging residents of Jacksonville Beach to use the slide that taxpayers had purchased. Councilwoman Christine Hoffman said that given the growth of the event over its short life, she didn't feel an additional boost was necessary. She also said that for any other expenditure this large, the city would have to follow a specific process.
Normally when we're asked to make this sort of investment, we have, an RFP committee that's reviewed it, that's given us their recommendations. We're normally seeing 3 or 4 different vendors, and we really have a better feeling of going into it knowledgeably and that we're making the best decision for the use of taxpayer dollars. So I'm just not having that same feeling here.
Mayor Charlie Latham also said that one of his major concerns was that there would be a charge to use the shell slide. He said that in earlier discussions, the event had always been free, and charging for a part of the event could change the relationship between the city and the Deck the Chairs nonprofit organization. But Latham said he also was not fully supportive of expanding the event into the daytime.
I see this as a nighttime, and families come downtown. The Christmas spirit's in full bloom. I'm trying to visualize people out on a slide with all the chairs out that aren't lit because it's daylight, and whether or not that's going to be a true draw to bring people downtown. And that's my concern. Now, funding you for that element, I can understand why everybody's got a concern, and quite frankly, I do too. But if for some reason this doesn't happen tonight, I mean, I'm wide open to talking about what'd you say?
Avenues?
Thank you. I've had a long meeting, but other avenues to, really spice things up in the evening. But I like Ms. Hoffman and Mr. Daugherty and Mr. Vogelsang, have a hard time explaining to taxpayers why we're going to tax them. We're going to use some of that money to build this facility, and then we're going to turn around and ask them to pay.
Loftus did say the daytime expansion was going to happen whether or not the city made the contribution, and the council as a whole was effusive in its praise for Loftus and the Deck the Chairs event. But when it came time to vote on the $12,000 appropriation for the shell slide, the motion failed for lack of a second. The Jacksonville Beach Council also passed into law an ordinance that prevents pet stores in the city from selling pets that come from so-called puppy mills or kitten mills. Any pets offered at a local pet store must be certified as having come from a certified humane shelter by the store. Individual breeders are still allowed to sell puppies and kittens to the public. Backers have already approached Neptune Beach officials about enacting a similar ordinance in that city. The Neptune Beach Council is still working through some major issues with its sign ordinance, which was significantly modified last year. After removing the hard deadline for requiring businesses to change their signs to low monument signs as stipulated by the ordinance, the issue of when signs would have to be changed became a much larger concern. More recently, 2 signs were damaged by storms late in July, and those businesses are trying to determine whether their signs now have to be replaced or whether they can be repaired. The most recent version of the ordinance discussed at the council workshop Monday night contains some substantive changes requested by the council and placed in the bill by the Community Development Board.
We've added the definitions to the branding, also added definitions to repair. We could probably add a definition to what replacement would be added to that. My definition of replacement would be the actual structure went down. It's the total sign replacement, but that could be another definition that we could zero in.
Another possible trigger was any change in illumination. But Wiley said that with advances in lighting and more businesses opting for energy-efficient LED lights, it would be difficult to maintain the same illumination on a sign. The council is also considering whether to require U-Haul and Aqua East to replace their tall pole signs, which were damaged by the storms in late July. The signs are designed so that the panels will blow out to prevent the wind from knocking down the entire sign, and Aqua East said it would prefer to replace the panels, but as the ordinance is currently written, the damage would trigger replacement of the sign to a low monument sign. Councilor John Jolly expressed some frustration that, in his view, all of the teeth were being taken out of the sign ordinance if it only required the sign to be brought into compliance if a complete replacement was necessary.
Well, if that's what we're going to have, then what we should say is we don't have any triggers. Because any replacement, complete replacement, so if somebody has 90% of the signs blown away and they're not replacing the last 10%, whatever that 10% may be, then they don't have to conform. It goes against Section A there, any change in structure. Well, you change a structure, you're not doing a complete change. So I have trouble with that. I could not vote this ordinance the way it is. If we keep it any complete replacement, because it means we're never going to replace or bring any of those signs to compliance.
Jolly also said that the ordinance that was being discussed was not what had been asked for. He had hoped to vote on the previous ordinance crafted by the Community Development Board and left it open for amendment. Mayor Harriet Pruitt said that no matter what eventually passed, somebody is going to be upset.
I know that we've been looking at this sign ordinance for a decade, and there is no way that we are going to please everybody here. There's just no way, no matter what we do. No matter what, when it comes to signs, you're not going to have a perfect sign ordinance. So I think we need to continue to work on this. And Patrick, we heard what we said, and let's kind of get together and come back at another workshop.
The council will discuss the ordinance again in mid-September. At a special meeting Thursday morning, the council extended its deadline for making changes to its sign ordinance for another 6 months. The Neptune Beach Council moved an ordinance to its next agenda that would require the use of pervious pavers in town center for repairs or new construction. The move is intended to help reduce flooding in the town center area during heavy rains. It will also consider an ordinance limiting breezeways connecting buildings to 15 feet in length at its next meeting. Well, planned renovations at the Palms Hotel in Atlantic Beach would turn the long-established business into a boutique hotel, and owners have asked the Atlantic Beach Commission for a use by exception to allow the sale of alcoholic beverages on the property. The owners would like to be able to serve beer and wine to their guests as an amenity at the hotel, and they've told the city they've made arrangements for overflow parking at the Berkshire Hathaway real estate office across the street, as well as at a nearby church. The city staff has recommended the commission approve the use by exception, though certain conditions on the hours of alcohol sales and noise considerations may be placed on the business. The issue is on the Atlantic Beach Commission agenda for discussion only for their Monday night meeting. Well, when we come back right now, it looks like the first hurricane of the season will stay well to the south of the northeast Florida beaches. This is the Island Times News Update.
Charlie's Tropic Heating and Air Conditioning in Atlantic Beach offers a full range of residential and commercial heating and air conditioning services, from new installation to replacement and remodeling. Charlie's Tropic Heating and Air Conditioning can keep your home comfortable year-round, and they offer preventive maintenance contracts to keep your system running at peak efficiency. Charlie's Tropic Heating and Air Conditioning is an authorized Bryant dealer and will service all brands. For year-round comfort in your home or business, contact the original Charlie's Tropic Heating and Air Conditioning at 241-1788. Beaches Academy Child Care Center in Jacksonville Beach has been offering affordable, loving child care to families in the Beaches communities for 35 years. Conveniently located on Penman Road, Beaches Academy offers care for children from infants through preschool, with programs that encourage learning and outdoor play. Our affordable tuition means families can get quality child care at a price that fits their budget. Contact Beaches Academy at 246-3885 and schedule a tour of our center. Beaches Academy, the child always comes first.
Welcome back to the Island Times News Update. I'm Tom Patton. The first hurricane of the Atlantic hurricane season is Danny, and it's formed in the central Atlantic Ocean, but forecasters say right now it appears it will not have much, if any, effect on our weather, and don't know that it will continue as a hurricane after passing the Windward Islands in the Caribbean. Danny's current forecast track has it crossing into the Caribbean Sea Monday, and then interacting with the island of Hispaniola on Tuesday as a tropical storm. A second area of disturbed weather has formed south of Bermuda, and there's a third that has come off the coast of Africa. Neither has much chance to develop over the next several days. We'll have a look at our more immediate weather in just a couple of minutes. The 2015 concert series at the Beaches Museum and History Park Chapel is set to kick off this week. Blues guitarist John Primer will perform at the chapel on Thursday, August 27th at 7 p.m. Primer is a Grammy-nominated blues artist and is one of the last traditional blues artists with original Mississippi roots. Tickets are $20 in advance and $25 at the door. The next concert in the series will be held in mid-September and feature the Calvin Newborn Quartet. The city of Neptune Beach will hold a public meeting for its first reading of the budget on Wednesday, September 9th at 6 p.m., and a public hearing for the second reading of the budget on Monday, September 21st. At the same time, both meetings will be held in the council chambers. And Tuesday is Election Day in Atlantic Beach. Voters have candidates for mayor and commission seat 2 on the ballot. For mayor, incumbent Carolyn Woods is being challenged by local businessman Mitch Reeves. For commission seat 2, incumbent Maria Mark is facing first-time candidate John Stinson. There are also 2 ballot questions to be decided. One would make several changes to the Atlantic Beach City Charter, and the other would change the way district commissioners are chosen in Atlantic Beach. If you're in Atlantic Beach and you're a registered voter, be sure to get out and vote on Tuesday. Well, the National Weather Service says we can expect this pattern of daily chances of showers and thunderstorms to continue, but those chances are pretty low over the next few days. Highs will be in the mid to upper 80s and lows will be in the mid to upper 70s. The Island Times is always digital, always free. at www.theislandtimes.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter to be the first to know about stories posted on the Island Times. I'm Tom Patton. Thanks for watching.